Heavy is the head that has to manage all of this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel.
We're now incentivized to buy what we already buy.
Fumbling through college had me building.
I also got some done on the other side.
And that was right around, I would say, May, maybe, right before renewing the lease for this property.
Welcome to the channel, Martha.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh, I was going to say, I am getting up there in age, I'll tell you what.
Bills paid by other people, life was never this good. I had to step back, knowing that it's...
The UK and the US have just made a deal. They have finalized a deal, securing less tariffs on UK goods. The UK is actually considering allowing the US-made chicken into their ecosystem, which honestly I think that they should continue to ban US-made chicken in their products, because obviously US chicken has chlorine in it, and the UK does not allow their chicken to be bleached and then sold to the mass market, because some people are scared of blood and things of that nature. I also don't believe that we should be eating that type of meat that has been bleached, meat that has chlorine in it. That's not natural. It's not something that we should be doing. But many people have stated that the UK and the US meeting this agreement was not truly monumental. Now, the stock market did go up and it did rally upon this news. However, it was not anything significant. Things were in the green. The market was in the green, but it wasn't anywhere close to its all-time highs, which I'm sure we will break this year. I'm sure we will break all-time highs, because all-time highs are always broken. And so, you know, I see... obviously, this is news. It is good news. The UK has always been a respectful ally of America. I would like to see more strength, more alliance with Canada. I would like to see more delegation, more peaceful talks with Canada in restoring the unity that we once had. Obviously, Canada provides electricity to some parts of the U.S., and some people may not have known that before, but obviously if we're dependent on another on another country for electricity, right, it's very important that we have good talks, good negotiations with them to see how the U.S. can benefit, but also how Canada can benefit as a whole as well. I personally believe that Canada should be treated like Puerto Rico. It should just be an extension of the U.S. Now, obviously, they want their own independence, which is perfectly fine. My cousins are Canadian. I absolutely love Canada, although I've never been, and I'm sure I will be. But with that being said, you know, that is what people are waiting on. People are waiting on Canada. People are waiting on Taiwan. People are waiting on India. People are waiting on China, most importantly, to get on board, to have better understanding. China has seemed, honestly, in my own opinion, like less of an actor. They have seen more to stand on their pivot, to stand on their principles, to stand on their beliefs, and not just stoop down to levels just because they can, right? Not raise tariffs to 199% just because the U.S. raised theirs to 180%, right? China said enough is enough, understanding that raising the tariffs anymore would just be pointless at that point. And they said, we're not going to play these games. Because ultimately, would the U.S. have raised their tariffs to 300%? I'm sure they would, right? But there comes a point where what's even the point of raising it any further, right? You have to have that understanding within yourself to say, you know what, I'm not beneath being at least understandable, to being at least approachable, to being at least someone that is respected. And when China has to say, you know what, you're being a child and you're not conducting yourself in a way that is actually beneficial to either economy, then it just simply doesn't make sense. We're looking like children in a tariff war, and it doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever, right? And so when I look at that, when I look at and understand that, it makes all the sense in the world why the Chinese may say, you know what, the U.S. is acting like such and such. In sweeter terms, let's say a baby, right? Um, Now, personally, doesn't matter what you act like if you have all the power. Um, Now, I don't believe the U.S. has all the power, but they do have power, obviously, right, in order to uh, threaten tariffs, in order to get people to be in alignment, in order to get countries to acquiesce to the desires of the U.S., you have to have power. And the more people that acquiesce, the more people that fall in line, the more countries that fall in line will only strengthen the U.S. more and more as time goes on. And so a lot of the tariffs that were put in place back in 2020 stayed in place even during the Biden administration. And so Biden administration also believed that these tariffs were beneficial, that they worked, that they were beneficial to the U.S., not only the consumer, but to the economy as a whole. And you know, every single time that $1 billion comes into our market through tariffs, that's $1 billion that the taxpayer does not have to subsidize. And so as we look towards a new future to where the U.S. taxpayer is not being royally screwed, it is important to also understand that in order to do that, there's going to be a lot of disagreements with foreign countries, with foreign leaders, and the U.S. may not be seen as this nice, loving, and caring big brother that we all used to be and wonder about. We may be seen as so much more. We may be seen as a dictator. We might be seen as a threat. We might be seen as a greedy entity that is already too big to fail. And so, you know, it depends on what people believe and what people want to be perceived as, and what view do we want to have across the world. Do we want to be viewed as tyrants, or do we want to be viewed as those that offer aid, help, and support every step of the way? Let me know what you think about tariffs. Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? Do you think that the U.S. will even be able to chip into the debt that we have regardless? If not, should we just give up? Should we just allow ourselves to fail and not be able to do what it is that we need to do in order to pay back our debts? Let me know in the comment section down below. You know I post on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify for podcasters, and I can't wait to see you on the next one.